Hello. We're going to do our checks. I'm going to do my checks and I'll be with you in a moment. And we're going to have our do our podcast today. It's podcast day. It's always podcast day. Just give me a second to get everything dialed in and we'll be good to go. And we are good to go. Excellent. Okay. I would like to welcome everyone to our podcast today. We're having a very good podcast. We're going to have a very good podcast. I just need to do one last thing and I'll be set. That's the wrong thing. Okay. You think as many times as I've done this, I would know exactly what I'm doing by now. Excellent. Okay. I'm still playing around. Give me a second. Okay. I'm good to go. I'm here. My name is Lynn David Livesey, and I'm your full spectrum Gnostic, and this is Knowledge from Beyond. And today we have a very light topic. We've been talking very deep for a very long time, scaring a lot of people. So we need a light topic for once. And today we have one. We're talking about the difference between sun people and moon people. They are two different types of people. And we're going to be talking a lot about this. And this is something that you can, I don't get a lot of comments on my podcast because a lot of times I'm talking stuff so deep. People are just hanging their mouth open. They don't have a comment. But today since we're talking something light and something that, you know, a lot of people know about because you're either a sun person or a moon person. You should be able to have a good, an opinion on this. So I'm hoping to read some comments today. So let's go ahead and get started. Uh, my name is Lynn David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. We're talking sun people and moon people. And what are the differences? Now, the Earth is controlled by two different giant energy forces. We have some minor energy forces too. And we might have time to go over some of them, but the two giant energy forces is coming from the sun, which is masculine energy. Okay. And the moon, which is feminine energy. And those two energy sources give off two distinct vibrations. Okay. And this is what rules our life. So, before people start acting crazy about what's the difference between sun people and moon people, let's talk about sun people because that's what you normally know. The sun is into control. Okay. And that is the reason why some people wake up when the sun comes up. Everybody wakes up. And everybody is in a rush to do everything because the sun is about control. It's about doing things. You got to do this. You got to do this. When you wake up in the morning, you got that long list of things you got to do. And you're constantly looking over your watch. And you're constantly have to get in line and do this and do that. And you go to work and you got to do this. And it's about control. Okay. And if you're good at being a cow and doing what you're supposed to do and lining up and you're at work and you got to say that saying and you got to do this and got to perform that task, that's what the sun is all about. The sun likes to control things. Okay. The sun is very domineering. And the sun is always talking about time and saving time. And I'm in a rush to do this because I got to pick my kids up and I'm in doing this. And you're constantly looking at the clock. Now we're going to come back to the sun later, but let's go to the moon real easily. The moon is feminine energy. And when the sun goes down and the moon comes up, you don't have to watch your clock that much anymore. You can relax. You can take it easy. It's that feminine energy. It's that where you can just, you got one or two things you want to do, but you got all night to do it. Okay. It's not constantly checking the time and constantly doing this and being in a rush. The moon is more laid back. You got time, you're going to get to it. The moon is not into control. So moon people are less, when you're out at night and you're doing things. And we're going to start this what a lot of people don't recognize because most people know about sun energy because that is what controls work, this and that, everything we have to do. We are sun people. We are running by the sun. We're always in a rush, always watching the clock, always trying to get 50,000 things done at one time. And we understand sun energy 110%. But then the sun goes down and that moon energy takes over. That's the reason you can relax. And even people that work at night is not is more at ease. And night people are not controlled by, and people that are more into the night energy, they are not into lining up. At night, you can do your own thing. It's not as a thing about control and manipulation and trying to do it and trying to get everybody to do the same thing and whatever. Is the night energy is a lot more tolerant. You can see that when you're out at night. When you're out in the day, everybody's supposed to act a certain way, dress a certain way, do a certain thing, whatever. But at night, well, it's all good. And this is why certain people strive on that night energy. They like that laid backness. They like this where if some people try to sleep during the day, but if you're going to try to sleep during the day, you always got to set that alarm clock and do this and that and whatever. And you're constantly looking over your shoulder because there's so many things you need to get done. But at night, you can just relax. And if you go out for a drink or something, you can just enjoy yourself. The night energy is a lot smoother. And there are people, which is the point of this subject, that basically run on night energy. Most sun people wake up when the sun comes up. They're running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And when the sun go down, it's time to go to sleep because they're tired. Moon people, they wake up. The sun bothers them because the sun is all, they got all this stuff on their mind. And they like it when the sun is going down, is when they feel comfortable to go outside. Because when they go out at night, you don't feel that pressure. It's less judgmental. Nobody's asking you at night, what's your credit score, this and that, how much money you're making, this and that. It's all about having a good time, relaxing, doing what you need to do, but it's a more relaxed atmosphere. And plus, people who do night work, they tend to be more in tune to the elements. This is why a lot of metaphysical people do things at night, especially those full moon people. They feel that pull of the moon and they can just sit out all night and enjoy the moonlight. They can sit out at night and just drink a beer. And if they drink a beer for an hour or two or 3, 4 hours, it doesn't make any difference because they're relaxing, they're enjoying themselves. For some reason, during the day, we have a hard time relaxing and enjoying ourselves. And it's not, and you might say, well, Lynn, that's because during the day you got a lot to do. Blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people, even people that don't work, even when you have the day off and the sun is up, you're constantly thinking about things you need to get done. Because that is how we are raised. We are raised under that thing of you're watching the clock and you're judged by what you can do. And people ask you, what did you do today? You didn't do nothing today. You just stayed home, watched TV today. You didn't go nowhere. You never ask the person about that at nighttime. What did you do? What did you do last night? Oh, you sat home and watched TV. That's nice. We that moon energy is more subtle. Is more relaxing. Is not as harsh. The sun energy is very harsh and very demanding. And people like me who's a workaholic, oh, I love that sun energy. I can feel that power level up to the ceiling and I can feel all that energy. And I got that list of 50,000 things I need to do today and I'm rushing. Oh my gosh, I eat that up. And sometimes at night I get lost because I knew there are things they're supposed to, I'm supposed to be getting done. But let me just sit here and relax for a little bit. I don't feel that pressure. You don't feel that. See, this is what we're lacking. Society, we have put all of these restrictions on us. We have put all of this pressure upon us. And this is what Western society is very bad at doing, is stressing you the hell out. This is why Americans work more than anybody else in the entire world. In Europe, the French get a month for vacation. It's in their constitution. And in Scandinavia and these places, a lot of these places get a month, 2 months off work. We feel guilty if we even take one day off work. And when we get our week of the ones who are lucky among us who get a week of paid vacation, we normally don't take a week of paid vacation. We take a day here so we can put our car in the shop and we take this. And when we take it that time off, we're in a rush to go somewhere and visit somebody or do something, a rush to come back. We never just relax. We're under that pressure, we're under that gun. And this is the difference, the main difference between, if you look at indigenous people, they don't have that pressure. Because indigenous people, see, we worship the sun, we're sun worshipers. Before we believed in the SON, we worship the SUN. Okay. And they substituted the SON for the SUN, but they kept everything else the same. But native people, people that are shamanistic, are into, you know, they're not round up like we are. And this is what people see when they go to countries that are more agricultural, or when you go way out in the country. People get things done, but they're not under that timetable. They're not under that clock. And we go out there and we visit them, and we're like, "Don't y'all get bored out here? Is it? Well, we do things. We go fish, and then we do this, and on the weekend we'll go to Walmart, and you're like, oh my gosh. But why did we get that wound up? And you might say, because Lynn, we got a lot of things we need to get done. And what have we gotten done in our life? When we look back on our life, what have we gotten done? We just bought a lot of junk. We just spend a lot of money on things we don't need. We were constantly rushing to, because we got to keep up with the Joneses, to keep up with this, and we're making giant money already. But there's that promotion, or that opportunity to get a better job, or we're trying to get our kids into that school, or we're constantly doing this and that, and we're under so much pressure all the time. A lot of us, including myself, don't know how to relax. I didn't know how bad I was. I like to use myself as an example instead of picking on other people. I like to pick on myself. So you can get mad at me if we're picking on myself. I didn't know how bad Lynn Livesey was until the pandemic came along and slapped me in the back of the head, and I was stuck at home and I couldn't do anything. And when I was home, bored to death, didn't know anything to do, and I couldn't figure out what to do, I discovered something. And I was bored stiffless for a week or so. I was like pulling my hair out about what I'm going to do, this and that, and whatever. And then it just hit me all of a sudden, and I was able to relax and chill out. And after a while, I kind of started to enjoy being home. I didn't have to constantly set the clock. My clock is religiously set at 6 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 6 o'clock every damn day. Why? I don't know, because I got things to do. I got to feed my cats and this and that, and clean up the house, and who knows what I'm doing. Okay, I'm still late getting everywhere where I need to go, but I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning because the sun is coming up. But during the pandemic, I was able to relax. And I would get up in the morning and I would drink my coffee and I would just sit there for 30 minutes, an hour. And I would just contemplate what I'm going to do today. And maybe I need to, put in a resume or two, or maybe I'm going to do this later on today, or maybe I should, you know, I would just sit there and relax and I would think. And after a while, I discovered something called the undiscovered country, called that weight on my back started to loosen up. Because us sun people are so into getting everything done, and we're constantly racing the clock every single day. Moon people don't have this problem. They get to smell the roses along the way. They get to relax. And this is why they make songs about they're going to make love to the break of dawn and all this stuff and everything else, because they can feel that. Okay. But the problem is not the moon people that like to just, especially on a full moon, they can just sit outside and stare at the moon for an hour or two, sometimes half the night. We can't even find 10 minutes to do much of anything because we're constantly checking our watch, checking our phones, checking this, checking that. We can't keep still. Why is that? And you would think, since we're so damn busy, as some people, we would have so much more accomplished in our lives. A lot of us don't. We're just burning the candle at both ends. Now, now that I've been criticizing the sun people and talking good about the moon people, Are we supposed to be moon people or sun people? Or is it better to be a moon person or a sun person? Or what is it supposed to be? Because if you laid back all the time, there are some things you need to get done. And if you're a sun person where you're constantly running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to do 50 things at one time, you find it hard to relax. And this is the reason a lot of people say in the afternoon they got to drink a few beers, or they got to have a drink, or they got to have a cigarette, or got to have whatever for them just to be able to relax. They can't relax by themselves and why? They simply don't know how. Now, the problem comes when we was born. Because when we was born, we were supposed to be balanced mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. 90% of us, we're definitely not balanced mentally, physically, and emotionally. Plus, most of us, a lot of us, including myself, come from very dysfunctional homes where there's all kind of stuff going on when you was a kid. Okay. Sometimes you had to get out of the house just to relax. You get what I'm saying? And that really gets you bent out of shape by the time start going to school, and then you got your bad friends, and then you got this, and then the pressure starts, people threatening you if you don't do this or that, you're not going to pass, and then you get a job if you don't do this, you do this one more time, I'm going to fire you, and you're under all this pressure all the time. Today's the first of the month, and if you don't pay your rent, right, oh my gosh. This is why a lot of us is twisted and bent mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, because we don't have time to stretch ourselves out, figure out what we want to do. We are trying to do 50 things at one time and go in three different directions at one time. We're tripping over our own feet. We need that balance. This is why the symbol of this meeting is this. We need to have the balance of sun and moon energy. We need that balance between the two. Because that sun is going to burn us up. And so many of us, we buy into these dreams. I remember back when I was younger, and I would get hired on these jobs, and they talk about, for the first few days, you got to go to meetings, and they talk about being vested in the 401k plan and this and that and all this stuff. And after 6 months, you're going to qualify for this. And after 1 year, and you believe, oh my gosh, I can't wait, because after 1 year, I'm going to be fully vested, and they're going to be matching my. Most of us don't even make it that long. We're buying into all this stuff. We're constantly looking on Facebook and whatever for that scheme or that scam where, we can, you know, get something for nothing. Because we try so hard and we see that we're not getting anywhere. But a lot of time, the way to get somewhere is not by trying to do more each day and trying to speed up to do more things. Sometimes to try to get somewhere, the answer is you need to slow down. Because if you can't think clearly, and if you're running around in a circle like a dog chasing his tail, and then you figure out how come I'm not getting anywhere in life. And the answer is because you're dazed and confused. And a lot of us are doing things that we don't want to do. We're in jobs we hate. We do a lot of things that we are forced to do. And and it's very bad. So we spend This is one thing I did during the pandemic when I was sitting around. And I was thinking to myself, boy, if it wasn't for this pandemic, all the things I could be doing. And then I was thinking back on all the years I worked and all the money I made. And I made all this money when I lived in Houston and all this money when I made in Austin. And I was doing this and I was doing that. And I bought a house and I bought this car and I did this. And I started to think about all that money I made. And then I started thinking about what did I do with all that money? What do I have to show for all the years that I worked so damn hard from sun up to sundown? What do I have to show? And I couldn't think of that many things. This is what a lot of us is missing in life. We're missing something called purpose in life. Our life have to have a purpose. Our life have to have a meaning. If your life don't have a meaning, buying cars and season tickets to the Dallas Cowboy games and all this other stuff doesn't mean anything. Okay. And you can go around telling everybody, oh, I got an 820 credit score. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Go to McDonald's and tell them that and see what they give you. Okay. Maybe they'll give you a McNugget. Okay. That's if you're lucky. Okay. We need something in our life called happiness. One of the biggest problems in America is people on antidepressants, people taking anti anxiety medication, people doing this and that because the problem is we're not happy. And as I mentioned so many times before, the reason why a lot of us not happy because we was raised on false promises. We was raised that you, you know, you're a Barbie, you're gonna meet Ken, you're gonna grow up and move into the Playboy Mansion. And you was promised that if you do good, you're gonna win, and then the losers always do bad. And you was raised on all these false premises. And if you got the if you do right in life, good things will happen. And if you do bad things in life, bad things gonna happen. And you grew up with all this stuff in your head, and then when you're living your life, you see that a lot of these things you believed hardcore that if you went to church every Sunday and did what right, you're gonna live to be 100. And you see that a lot of things you believed in was fake. You need to put your trust and faith in things that you can believe in. You could believe in, you have to have something to believe in. As I tell people, you have to have something worth dying for. Because this life, you might have to risk it. And is that new car you got outside, is it worth dying for? And if that new girlfriend you got that's so hot and with the big everything, is she worth dying for? There is some things that is worth dying for. Your family, your honor, standing up for what you believe is right. When you're doing that and you stay and you're working hard because you're going to try to save up that money because it's your kid's birthday coming up next month and you do spend the money and your kid is very happy, that is worth it. You got to find those little things in life is what happiness is all about. Going to work every day, working 8, 10, 12 hours a day, this and that, double overtime, all this stuff. It And then when you get your paycheck, you stare at it and you say, okay. But you all say the same thing. I thought I was going to get a lot more than this. In this life, it doesn't matter how much you make, how much you work. When you get your paycheck, you still look at it and say, I thought I was going to get a lot more than that. Because the only person that's making money is the person at the top. You have to find things that the best things in life money can't buy. So, what you need to do, we're supposed to be talking about sun people and moon people and how energies affect people. But if you are a sun person, you need to slow down. If you're a moon person and you already slowed down and relaxed and you already got that, oh my gosh, it's great to be chilled. But you just can't chill out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and just, you can't do that either. We have to have that balance between the two. That's why there is a space there. Okay. Because the space is where we come into play. We have to find that balance. Somebody said money can't buy you happiness. I mean, can't buy you happiness. I have anxiety, depression. See, you have all that stuff. Yes. And sometimes when you get off work, you ask yourself, gosh, is this worth it? Some of the best jobs I ever had in my life is where I didn't make good money. And some of the worst jobs I had in my life is when I was making money. But as Americans, we view everything by money. Money is our God. We worship every single day. But that is that is what gets us. And it's great to be able to relax. It's great to be able to try to do things, but you have to have that balance. And if you don't have the slightest idea what I'm talking about, one night just stay up late at night and you would discover, okay, I'm going to stay up till 11. And before you know it, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You say, boy, what did I do? I was watching TV and I was doing this and I was having this. And then before I know it, it's because you lost something called you lost track of time. Time controls us like everything. Everything we do is controlled by that clock. So, what is moon energy? Moon energy is feminine energy. That's the reason it's very smooth, it's very subtle, it's non-judgmental, it's not harsh. Okay. The dark moon is Lilith. Yeah, everything has its good and bad side. And for some reason, we always like to find the bad side of everything. That's part of our problem. We're always looking for the bad side. We're always looking for the shortcut. We're always looking for that way to. You understand? If we spent less time doing all of that and just enjoying, see, what I do now is this. I got into something called quality time long time ago. because I'm still very busy in my life. I do podcasts and I work and I do this and that and I got responsibilities. But today I took 2 or 3 hours today. What was I doing? None to remember. I was playing on my phone and sitting around, and I was thinking about this, and I should have been working on this podcast here and some other things I needed to be doing. But I was just tired, and I just chilled, and I didn't do nothing big, but it just felt good to just let it go. You would be surprised. One way that people that suffer from stress and anxiety and hypertension and all this stuff, which they have found out, just to take a nap in the middle of the day, you would be surprised what it does for you. Just say, I'm just going to sit in my recliner for 20 minutes, for 10 minutes. I'm just going to close my eyes for 10 minutes. You wake up 45 minutes, an hour later, and you're like, oh my gosh. But you feel so much better. You give your battery a chance to recharge, and you give all that pressure inside of you a way to release. That's the reason, like in places like Japan, where they work ridiculously long hours, 10, 12 hours a day, they have nap. A lot of the big companies over there have nap time. You can take a 20-minute nap because it re-energizes you. Okay. To us, over here, a nap is not going to work. A lot of us, the only way we can relax is if we smoking that, you know what, or have a few beers, or have a shot or two, or this or that, or whatever, because we're that wound up. When you're that wound up, you need to take a look at your life and say, what do I need to do? How can I chill out? What can I let go? What am I doing in my life that's keeping me so tense and so tight and so wound up all the time? Another thing that helps you, and this has to do, see, moon energy is not only with the moon is connected to the earth. I said there's more than two energies. I told you that. Moon energy and earth energy is connected. So a lot of times, if you need to relax, just going out in the woods, or sitting and watching the ducks like I do sometime, or just take a little, some people like to jog in the morning or do little things. You just need to just reconnect. And there's this new thing which works very well called grounding, where you just take some time and you walk around barefoot outside, and you're able to unload. See, most people don't know the reason why. See, we are protected against the mother. This is why we wear clothes. This is why we wear shoes. This is why we have to protect ourselves. We don't like natural things. We got to have everything to be synthetic. We have to do this and that and whatever, because we want to shield ourselves from the mother. That keeps us disconnected from her. But keeping ourselves disconnected from her, you don't have a way of release. We need to do grounding. We need to do balancing. We need to do a little meditation, whatever works good for you, to let it out. And yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't get things done, you shouldn't go to work and whatever, but there got to be that balance between the two energies. The sun energy is constantly telling you all the things you need to get done today, and you got to do it right now. And you got to go to the store, and you got to pick up the kids, and you got to do this, and you got to go here, and you got to do that, and you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you're just running around like crazy. But you have a lot to do, but you don't have to get it done. The secret is, as I tell people, the secret of eating an elephant. I will tell you the secret of eating an elephant is one bite at a time. So, yes, we all have things we have to do. We're all in a rush to get things done, but we don't have to do it immediately. So, what I try to do in my life to keep myself a little bit less stressful after the pandemic, well, we're in another pandemic now, but I don't want to go back to the way I was before. So now, when I have 50,000 things to do, I say, okay, today I'm going to do this, this, and this. And tomorrow I'm going to do this, this, and this. The day after that, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I don't have to try to say I need to get everything done today. We need to find balance and relaxation. Somebody mentioned the sun, moon, and star. What do the star has to do? Because we was only talking sun and moon. The star is important too. I'm glad somebody mentioned it. Because the star is supposed to be that inspiration you have. See, we're supposed to have that speck of God inside of us. Because we wasn't put on this planet to see who can buy the most clothes or who can have the best credit score or the house with the most square footage or whatever. We was put here for a reason. That star is supposed to be your northern star. It's supposed to be your bearing into what you're doing in your life. We all need to have that northern star pointing us where we need to go. That's the reason it's the three. It's the sun, moon, and star. Okay. Because the sun is masculine, the moon is feminine. And once we figure that out, then we have to have direction on which way to go. Okay. Do any of this make sense? But we need to use these two energies. But everything to the extreme is bad. And people that run 100% on sun energy, they are too wound up. They just constantly live by the clock, this and that. They're upset with anyone that don't go by the rules, this and that, don't follow everything the way it's supposed to be done. Everything got to be in the right order, everything this and that, because they just see that control. People that's totally moon energy, they're so chilled out that they have a hard time, some of them, getting anything done. But at least they're not wound up. They see life as being more like a river. And life is which I tell people is a 2 hour movie. And your life has good and bad chapters. And just like in any movie, you have exciting parts and you have boring parts. You have happy parts and you have sad parts. And just because you're in a sad chapter in your life doesn't mean your life is over. It's just a sad chapter. Get to that chapter and turn the page, right? We all need to do this. And this is, which I talked about before, is one of the problems we have in society today. See, before we had less problems in society because we had something called social structure. We belong to a church, we belong to a community, we belong to events. We had family, we had this, we had friends, we had civic obligations. We belong to things. And when they saw, and if you was a member of that church or that social group, and when they say, hey, what happened to Charlie, they would go and check on you. Hey, Charlie, we haven't seen you. What's wrong? How come you haven't been over there? This and that, everything else. Today, nobody's checking on anybody. You could be missing for 2 weeks, and people are like, have you seen that guy? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Because we live long lives of isolation, and this is what this computer age has given us. It has given us connectivity to where we can connect with people halfway around the world, and this is the problem. I'm on Facebook criticizing Facebook. On Facebook, it's so easy to meet and date people halfway around the world, but you can't meet or date people that live down the street. Why is that? Because you can trust people you that's hundreds of miles away because they can't hurt you. But if you meet somebody down the street, they can stab you in the back. So a lot of us have all kind of Facebook friends that we get along perfectly with, but we hate our neighbors. We're losing all of our social skills. And you think it's bad for us. Wait till our kids grow up. It's going to be super. So a lot of them, especially today, is born in that Zoom age where they went to Zoom school, this and that. They're doing everything by computer. They are playing video games with people halfway around the world and on other planets to let you know, and they're doing everything. They got interstellar friends you don't even know about. That's what all these video games are all about. You get to play with humans and non-humans. You don't know. But they have a hard time just getting along, going outside and getting along with the kids down the street. We have to work on these problems. We have to reconnect to the mother. We have to reconnect to the earth. We have to reconnect to everything. We have lost our way. And I've told you that this was not going to get very deep today, but we're going to talk about something that's kind of deep, something called Valentinism. Okay, that's a Gnostic concept. Okay, see, people want to know how come God don't talk to us. He used to talk to people in the Bible. He used to, and now we pray and he doesn't say anything and whatever. And how come he's not there anymore? Valentinism is the belief that he haven't left us. We left him. And as we moved further and further and further away from him and further away from his path, then we wonder why we don't feel his presence anymore. And he hasn't moved. We have. And so we have to do is start going back in that direction that way. If you want to feel something, The same thing with reality. If you want to feel something, let's get out of all this virtual stuff and let's do some real stuff. Virtual is terrible. You can see all the virtual concerts you want to, but if you go to an actual concert or an actual game, maybe you have to sit every other seat or whatever with COVID around or whatever, but it beats virtual 10,000%. We have to do our re education and we have to teach our kids. Our kids, a lot of our kids have no interaction of what it's like to be in a group activities. And this is why a lot of parents today is trying to get their kids back into soccer or little league, tea leagues or things like that because the kids just want to stay at home and do video games all day and watch TV all day and this and that and everything else. And outside is so hot and so this and so many bugs and so oh my gosh, let me just stay inside the air conditioner. Okay. And for all of us having all these problems, the reason we have so many problems because we are no longer connected to the earth. You don't see native people. See, native people can walk out in the woods naked or half naked. They're not worried about, oh, that's poison ivy. Oh, I'm allergic to this. Oh, my gosh, if I pressure gets it, I'm going to be. Oh. They're connected. They're one. The reason why we are this is why allergies are at a record high because we are no longer connected. That's why we can't eat peanut butter and we can't eat this and we're allergic to grass and we're allergic to this. And you got so many people with so many allergies that just stretch forever. This didn't exist 100 years ago because we was connected to the earth, we was connected to the sun and to the moon, we was connected to the mother, we was one. Today we're only connected to you, and you got to answer that. A lot of times we don't even know what we're connected to. Okay, but this high-tech world lacks feelings and emotions. We need to reconnect. The next time there is a full moon outside, I want you to go outside and just sit under it. If you're saying this guy, well, I don't understand anything of what he's talking about. The next time you can go out in the woods or go to the beach and just sit there and watch the sun go down or come up or just sit there, you will discover something. And leave your watch and your cell phone in the car because you can't enjoy the beach or these places in the woods if your cell phone's going constantly all the time and you're texting everything. You might as well just stay at home. You got to turn it off. And if you do that, you can feel the different energies. But these energies must be balanced. And today we are out of balance. There are people that are totally sun energy. There's people that are totally moon energy. There's people that this or that. There's some people, you know, they're so strung out on, and I can't be talking because I'm strung out on a lot of this spiritual stuff. That's the reason I'm a Gnostic. And a lot of time, regular life bores me. This is why I do these podcasts, not only for you, but for me too. Because you can, as long as you can control your own craziness, you're allowed to be a little crazy. As long as you don't get too crazy. And sometimes Len Livesey needs to turn it off. Okay. I can only read so many of those crazy books at a time. I can only think about the crazy for so long. Then I need to turn it off. Maybe you need to turn that TV off, and Netflix off. Turn that video game off. Take your kids to the park. Let them play in the grass. This was a thing I saw on the news around a year ago. These new schools that they're opening in Europe, where they're called nature schools, where kids actually go and they're playing in the mud, splashing in the water. They're fishing, they're climbing trees, they're walking in the woods. Oh my God, I can't let my kids do that. They might get stung by a bee. Oh, there might be poison ivy out there. You'd be surprised what happens. And by doing that, they don't have the allergic problems because their body has the antibodies for all this stuff. See, the reason why this stuff is killing us today because we're living in a synthetic environment. This is why with coronavirus, you don't see it killing native people are not falling over left and right. Is the people that the urban people that are getting hit extremely hard. Okay. Because we're not we we don't have the antibodies to a lot of things. Okay. But if you live out in the country, you've been exposed to a lot of things. You fished in the river and did and that, and you got bit by this, and you're not falling over. Okay, you have some immunity. You are connected to the mother. You are connected to the earth, the moon, the sun, and the star, the four. Okay, this is what we all need to do: is that connection. Okay. Yeah, taking your little kids fishing. Yes, that's great. Yes, somebody said that they're going to start taking their kids fishing. And the thing is not the race of who can catch the most fish, because the best way, I was telling somebody this the other day. I was using it as an analogy since I was self employed. When you're starving to death and you're going fishing, you're, oh my God, you're under a lot of pressure because you got to catch a fish, not just one or two. You need six. But if you're going to take your kids fishing and you feed them breakfast before you go and you're taking snacks and sodas and you're going out there, if you catch something or not, who cares? And if you're an adult like me and you're going fishing or sit on the beach and you got this or that and you got everything you need and you sit out there, the last time I tried to do that on the 4th of July last year. They had everything shut down. So they was going to do the fireworks and I was going to sit in my car with the air conditioner on and watch the fireworks. And I got there and I parked my car and I woke up around midnight. I was that tired. I missed the whole show. But I slept super good. Okay. How come I'm able to sleep in my car? And I've done that several times. So for some reason you can sleep sometimes better in your car than you can in your own bed. Okay. Because when you're home, you got all this stuff. Nobody's nagging you and this and that and everything else. And when you're in your car with your air conditioner, oh my gosh, you got peace. That is what we all need. This subject is to give you things to think about. Enjoy your and we all need to get things done. I'm not telling nobody to quit their job. I'm not telling nobody to stay up all night and watch the moon. We need that balance between the two. We all need balance. We are out of balance. We was born out of balance. We was born with dysfunctional families. We need to straighten ourselves up mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And once you get that line straight, you will finally start to get somewhere in life. My name is Lynn David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. I hope you found this message enjoyable and enlightening. Hope to see you again very soon. Watch the other shows on the Spirit Rim Network, and you can find me on my Facebook page, on YouTube, Amazon me. I got books over there. I'm everywhere. Thank you so much. Bye.